We all love tax season, the time of year when you look at other countries like Denmark and wish that your taxes were done for you and all you need to do is sign off on the number, rather than filing it and then getting snail mail saying, "Nuh-uh, that's not the right number that we have on file." Bruh, you have the number already. What do you mean you need me to submit these stupid forms only for you to tell me that I am wrong? So unfortunately, as an independent content creator, I need to submit all the numbers myself as it's self-employed income. I'm not a stranger to getting all the necessary documents together as I've done commissions and other self-employment income in the past, so I've learned a few tips along the way to make my life easier that hopefully you can integrate into your workflow too. I am not a financial advisor nor accountant, so my advice is really just recommendations and awareness of what to look out for. If you have any in-depth questions about your specific situation, please consult your tax filer as it may vary between countries and even between states. Why would you, as an indie content creator, need to care about any of this? I just want to do this as a hobby, you might say, but if you earn any sort of money through your hobby, Taxman wants his cut. It's also generally a good habit to keep track of how much you spend on your hobbies, even if you don't make any income out of it. An art scab here and there, commission here and there. Oh, it's just like $30, $10, and then you might end up with a big bill at the end of the year that you were not expecting. As much as society heads don't want to admit it, we're clearly in some sort of recession here, but we still want to find some joy in our daily mundane lives through hobbies. If you're taking content creation to a level above just a hobby, then it's a no-brainer that you've already started to think about these things, right? So I am super basic in terms of where I record my revenue and expenses. I simply use Google Sheets so that I can access it across all of my devices. I've tried accounting software like GNU Cash, which is completely free, to looking at larger apps such as FreshBooks. But at the scale that I am right now, with just like a handful of clients and income streams, it hasn't gotten to a point where I needed to use paid software with a clean UI to get the job done. For my basic sheet, here's what I have. I have the date, different columns for incoming and outgoing, colored, what currency it was paid in, and if it's not in USD, what's the estimated converted value given by the daily exchange rates found on the federal site. More info on that to make this easier in a little bit. And then I have the category of the entry, such as what type of revenue or expense it was, and an extra column for any additional notes I may need. Then I have an extra cell for total gross income and net income so I can view it at a glance. Last year, I had over 100 entries into my simple spreadsheet alone, but what really makes it a lot easier for me are the lookup tables that I grabbed from Google Finance in order to map the daily FX rates. Make one for each foreign currency to your home currency. The table might not populate until a day or two or even a week after the actual date. Don't worry if it shows up blank sometimes. It will eventually update. I'm extra fancy and added if-else statements so that it also searches the right lookup table based on the currency dropdown I chose because I purchased scripts and comms from people around the world. I generally have JPY, CAD, and Korean won in my dropdowns. Knowing a little bit about formulas and spreadsheets can go a long way. I also have a separate page that lists out all of my monthly and yearly subscriptions so that I can get a rough estimate of how much money is flowing out per month at a glance. For specifically a VTuber content creator, your main sources of revenue can probably be something like platform payouts such as Twitch and YouTube, external tip jars like Streamlabs or Ko-Fi, merch or sales, sponsorship deals, and a good old miscellaneous source. All of these are considered taxable income, so it's best to mark out where the income source is from and when you got it. Extra note, if you're using Stripe or PayPal and are taking out funds held by the site, sometimes you'll be hit with an extra transfer fee. Make sure to count that as a separate line, as payment processing fees can be a tax write-off. That means you can't just open up your bank statement and pluck the numbers out from there, as these fees are generally taken already prior to the money arriving in your bank account. And speaking of that, what actually counts as a business expense or tax write-offs? In the most general terms, anything you use to support your quote-unquote business as a content creator can be considered a tax write-off, even the electricity and home internet. But, it's not like you can fully write off your monthly rent. You'll have to consider what fraction of your home is actually used for such purposes, and the amount of time spent doing these activities also counts. The easiest way is to take the square footage of the room you use to stream and compare it to the full home square footage. I remember I had to take out the measuring tape and wiggle around the room to get an accurate floor size every time I moved from rental place to rental place. For things like software purchases and unboxings, you should be able to justify that the majority of the usage is for content creation or for other business uses. Adobe subscription? Yep. Discord Nitro for your VTuber account? Sure. Any artworks you commission of your character that you upload on social media or use for things like stream overlays, schedules, all of that can be considered marketing materials, as they're generally not the things that make you money, but hopefully they can attract an audience. And for hardware like computer equipment, you'll need to depreciate the value over a length of time if it's considered a capital expense, aka things that you'll use over a period longer than 1 year. Fun stuff, I know. Yay, accounting. Mics, mic mounts, cables, audio equipment should ideally be things that last for quite some time. But for any case that you think that it will die within a year, then it's considered an operating expense and can be fully deducted in the year that you purchased it. There's apparently cases where you can even deduct clothing that you use on streams. But if you want, check out Reddit for a fun time if you ever want to hear some silly stories about how there are quite a few cases of content creators writing off dresses or vacations that they went for content purposes, but then it's actually classified as a personal vacation rather than work because of how little time was actually spent documenting footage. For fun times, okay, not for actual reference as to how you should write off your own stuff. Don't do that. Take Reddit advice with a grain of salt. This sounds like a lot of info at once, and all I can really say about it is it's best to tackle one step at a time. Like you get a new monitor and then you check the depreciation timeline for that category of item. It's much more manageable than to overload you with all of this detail at once. Since I already started talking about some best practices, here are some things that I do to make things less stressful during tax season. Try, and I say try because I also end up lagging behind near the end of the year too. Try to populate and update the sheet at least once a month. It might be too much to ask you to do it right away as you finish the transaction, which is technically the ideal thing to do, but it really shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes to document each entry. The date that you log in your book will depend. Depending on your location, check if you need to log it at the time of the transaction, which means the moment the money is sent by the other party, but it might not be deposited into your bank account yet as it's being held by marketplaces like VGen, where you have to wait until you reach a threshold in order to withdraw it, or the date you actually receive the cash in your accounts, aka the date you do withdraw from the online marketplaces. Make it easy to access artifacts of transactions. This can be email invoices, PDFs tucked away in a folder, though watch out for hard drive failures, just in case you ever get audited down the line. Note that your online bank statements may be inaccessible after a period of time. I think one of mine is like 6 months. So download a PDF version offline if you don't have snail mail statements. I tried not going into super in-depth detail with the formulas and expense categories, because the purpose of this video is really to get you thinking about how to approach the money management side of content creation and to encourage you to look deeper into the sections you think best fits your situation from actual advisors. I truly hope this didn't come off as too dry of a topic. I do have a passion for explaining things like this, but in hindsight, it might have been better to make a skit or something for each topic, which I might do in the future. We'll see. If you liked watching this video, check out this one about my tips on VTuber content creation for 2026. Or this one that's recommended for you. I stream games and handcam activities like model kit building and unboxings on Twitch. And if you want to support the channel, consider joining the membership, check out my wishlist on Throne to support upcoming content ideas, or other ways listed in the description box below. Bye for now!